between the two of them.
The inside of Coates.
Artcis gets too heavily involved.
And that's Whitehead and Coates.
Good evening and welcome to round 6 of the Virtual Reality Racing Club GT4 eSeries. My name is Steve Proudley, I'm your commentator for this evening and I'm joined by Martin Jones. Good evening, Martin.
Good evening, Steve, how are you?
I'm very well, buddy. I'm looking forward to what is my first commentary gig, as it were, with these GT4s. I've been catching up with some of the past streams and doing some homework, and the racing certainly looks interesting, and I think Monza tonight is certainly going to be a cracker.
It's absolutely prime for it. It's got all of the ingredients that we like, and you will have seen the second race is just unbelievable. It's great fun to watch. Gets the blood up, the old elbows come out, and the chaps get on with it. I think qualifying is going to reflect the way the first race goes, but yeah, they've never let us down yet.
No, absolutely. And just looking at some of the practice times that we're privy to at the moment, there's certainly some very quick times in there, but not just quick times. The guys are very, very close. Even the guys that are running the ballast, they seem to be able to manage that ballast very well, which, to be fair, at Monza, I would have expected it to have quite a big impact on the car with the long straights and the heavy braking zones. You know, what's your thoughts on that, Martin?
No, totally. Towards the end of the race, they do get a bit ragged, but Rich Hayden's ragged from the first with his Mustang, so he's always good fun to watch.
Yeah, so this was round 5 at Silverstone. We had qualifying, was Rob Butler put it on pole position, and he turned that into a race win in race 1, and also in race 2, Rob Butler was on top of the podium. So absolutely storming event for Rob Butler at Silverstone. I mean, the guy was on fire, and obviously did his championship standings no harm whatsoever.
He was hilarious. He's such a modest guy, and he just, I just kept out of trouble and this, that, the other, and I said, you nailed it. He said, well, yeah, but I was just watching what they were doing and did the opposite thing. So watch out for him. He's going to have a bit more success ballast, but the BMWs have been the class of the field, but the other guys have caught up a lot. Edmondson, watch out for him. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, and we look at we've got Dave Marshall on top of the standings at the moment, with Maxi Rohrig in second, Jack McIntyre third, Rob Butler fourth, Andreas Rillig fifth, Tom O'Farrell sixth, Max Edmondson seventh, Harry Omerod in 8th, and Andy Dorman 9th, and Alex Toth-Jones rounding out in the top 10. All those guys run with ballast this evening, but nothing's over at the moment. It's all still fairly close there, and it's anyone's championship still.
Yeah, it's absolutely is. Qualifying, really looking forward to that. And as if by magic.
Yes, so qualifying's underway. We're expecting, from what the drivers are telling us and from what we've seen in the practice sessions, low 58s and potentially high 57s is what I'm reliably told they're aiming for. So let's see what this brings up.
Yeah, who told you that?
I'll give you one. I'll give you two. You'll only need one, I would imagine.
Right.
But yeah, Dave Marshall. I mean, in practice, he did we just seen he did a 57.8 for round figures, and the other guys were all sort of low 58s. It is going to be close, and I don't think it's going to be over until the sort of last throws of qualifying. But certainly, the guys are on the outlaps now, getting some heat into the tyres, as we can see. Butler there. Rob Butler's going to be one to watch. Obviously, as we were just saying there, the very modest, unassuming driver, and usually they are the ones to watch, aren't they, Martin?
Yeah, definitely. He's quite leery in that thing, and what a great graphic that is. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, with your experience with this season so far, are there any standout manufacturers in it, or is there one manufacturer that they all seem to be chasing? I mean, the podiums are all fairly mixed from the past races.
It's been a completely mixed bag, and that's why it's been so successful. The second race, reverse grid, anybody can win it. And I'm not being disparaging to the ones who have done it, but we've seen representation from a lot of the different manufacturers, which is great. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Whoops.
That's the braking zone of turn 1. Not quite right for Rob Butler there, as we see him just
looks like he's broken it. Oh no.
Yeah, that's escape back to pits and get the new car out of the garage, I think, on that occasion. As we've seen Rohrig. This chap's, I believe, from what I've seen, is one to watch, Maxi Rohrig. He's certainly got the pace to do great things.
Yeah, he and his teammates are very quick, very competitive as well. So I'm expecting them to feature here. Again, ballast. It's going to really interfere with their sort of qualifying.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're doing a great job team-wise, because I believe they're on top of the standings in the team championship at the moment, if my information's correct. So that's Maxi Rohrig and Andreas Rillig as teammates there in the Adrenaline Motorsports.
Yeah, if they do get on the podium, you can interview them. I don't know how your German is, but they have English, which is good. And thank you. So I'll let you do the interview.
Well, brilliant. Thank you very much. In at the deep end. Alex Toth-Jones, as we're just watching now, as he's going around in the MSL car. That's a great looking car, is that? And there's a lot of fantastic looking liveries on the cars in this series. The very, very creative people.
Yeah, I'm particularly fond of this one, as you can expect, and hoping to see a lot of it. So, Max Coates. He's out somewhere. There's quite a good representation from MSL tonight, so looking forward to some good results. James Merrill's in that Boxster, the pink pig. He doesn't have to make that thing go.
Yeah, and they're a great looking car as well. The pink pigs obviously draw attention in the real world as well as the virtual world. As we see, Dave Marshall's just put in the fastest time with a 58.4, but that is probably 6/10 off what he was doing in practice.
As if by magic, and he's making that squeal, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Just finding the limits and a little bit more as he came out of that corner with a little bit of back end braking loose there. But it's always great to see, and it's a good, it's fantastic to watch. As we were talking to Rich Hayden, he said he's promised us he's going to try and go sideways a little bit.
I don't think he's got much choice.
No, I mean, here he is, Rich Hayden.
Oh, there we go.
He did say that the Mustang, he said it's not hard to get sideways, it's hard to catch it when it goes sideways and drive it through the slide, but he enjoys battling with it, I think. Probably not the words he used, if I remember, but just trying to put them out there politely.
I think he's just lining up a new drift series or something like that.
Yeah, potentially. Just see Kletzer's very, very 0.072 off Dave Marshall. So as we were predicting, the times are close, and I don't think we've seen the best of these guys yet. As Rich Hayden's he's on a fast lap at the moment, I believe. So he's just coming round to complete that. So we'll see where that puts him on the board. See if he improves.
That kart will be ballistic down this straight, but trouble is getting it stopped with a parabolic or getting it to turn in.
Yeah, I know when we were
talking. That's quite neat.
No, it's not too bad. That's reasonably tidy. When we were talking to Rich just before we went on air, he said that was his issue, wasn't it? It was actually getting it through the corners in the right manner to allow him to get on the throttle and maximise that speed advantage down the straights. And he does improve, and he goes 6th now with a 59.6. So that's a reasonable time from Rich.
Here's Kat. She's quick in this car. She's a senior Porsche development racing driver, it's a fantastic instructor and all-round talent. So we had dealings with her back in the single-seater days, and it's great to see her out in an MSL car.
I believe this is only her third round, is it, in the championship? She missed the first couple.
Yeah, technical issues got the better of her. It's not for the lack of effort. She's completely committed as a driver and as a person. Really enjoy her work ethic.
It was just a question that's probably been asked many times. When you're getting feedback from a person like Kat, who's obviously accomplished in the real world and does it sort of as a living, as it were, how easy is it for them to move over to the esports and adapt to driving in the virtual world and transferring that speed and that knowledge?
I think it depends on the sim rig they've got at home, but Kat says she's been trying to get the setup of this car to do what the Cayman does in real life. Is that the Cayman's a wonderful, wonderful car and makes a very good race car, very entertaining. Particularly, we've got a couple of cars out in the Sprint Challenge this year, and the drivers find that point when they get it to the edge. That's when all driving logic goes out the window with them. You just got to ring it and throw it, and it's finding that balance where you get the front end to turn in and get it to rotate the rear just to step it out a little bit, because if you hit a curb and you're not on that perfect balance, you're in the boonies, unfortunately.
I'm just bring our attention to the fact that Rich Hayden for a moment there had moved up to 4th place. He's just dropped back down to 5th, but he's sort of 0.6 off the lead time at the minute, which is Kletzer with a 1:58.4. Dave Marshall is 0.074 seconds off that. Dorman 0.175 off. So, and 4th Rorik, in fact, is 0.187. So the top 4 are split by less than 0.2 at the moment, which is pretty impressive to say the least, and very, very competitive.
That's wonderful to see.
As we've just seen Kat come round to complete, so that's a 2:02 from Kat. So I'm sure there's a little bit more to come from Kat in that Porsche.
Yeah, I think she was following our other car, which was James Merrill's. So I think there was might have interfered with a lap there, but I'm sure she'll be on it now.
Yeah, and Dave Marshall sat in 2nd place. He'll be looking for his teammate Jack McIntyre, I would imagine, to improve on his time. He's a 2nd off the pace as we watch him at the moment, obviously to try and do some good with the team championships. Are these drivers very much driving for the teams, or is it more of an individual championship from your impressions, Martin?
There's 2 answers to that one. There's the official one, which I'll ignore. No, they just get on with it, to be honest with you. If they're what you'll see, and what we've seen all season, is that people in P1, P2 after the start tend to battle, and it allows the person in P1 to get away. I've seen it once where they have obviously worked together, but then it's just they're winners. They just want to win.
Absolutely, yeah. They are individuals and they're racing drivers, and it's that top step that they're all after, isn't it? And there's only room for one person on it, unfortunately. As we're just on board now with James West, aka Gamer Muscle. Great to see these shots when we get to join somebody else's stream, just giving us a slightly different perspective. James is currently sat down in 17th place with a 2:01.648, which was in fact his last lap. So maybe he's going to improve on that one now as he's on a flying lap.
Yeah, that is the coolest background, I said last week, and I still don't think the sponsor socks have arrived for him yet.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, no, I think I don't know if it was yourself or Alex commented on the mood lighting in the background, and yeah, it's very, very, very subtle. And like you say, the socks, there's some advertising space there, isn't there?
Well, yeah, I've seen the opportunity. It's just don't know. Oh, he's blocked his socks now.
Yeah,
somebody snaffled him already.
Absolutely, and now on board with, well, not on board, sorry, we're now following Andy Carroll, who's in 16th place and just a shade under 3 seconds off the fastest lap times at the moment, as Marshall has gone back on top with a 1:58.395. So we're not yet seeing, you know, the 57s, which he said were possible and he achieved in practice, but we're building up to it.
There's no doubt. So close. That's a great lap.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic, and we've only got just over 3 minutes 10 seconds of qualifying left, so it is coming into the final moments here, literally time for a couple of laps at best, depending where you are on the track. So that 58.395 is currently the time to beat of Dave Marshall, and we've got Kletzer, who we're following now. He's just coming round towards the Parabolica to finish a lap. To see if he can improve by that smallest of margins would do it for him. He's literally 0.022 seconds off that pole position time at the moment.
Watch the line he takes onto the straight here. There's a couple of lines. Now, one's the skiing line, which is that one, which is in downhill racing. They take the shortest line, shortest route to the line. That's a good lap.
That's a good lap, and it's good enough for pole position at the moment. It's a tenth or just over faster than Marshall's time. So yeah, that is enough at the moment with 2 minutes and 10 seconds left to go, as we're now further down the field with Max Coates. Now Max seems to be struggling to get a lap in.
Yeah, I was wondering where he was. Max.
Yeah, from what I've seen, Max is certainly a driver that he should be up in the top 10 at least. He's a very competitive driver.
He's listening to us now. He's warming up the tyres. He's winding one up.
Well, this is it. They're coming round to the line now to take what will be their last chance.
Last lap.
Yeah, so this is it. This is all or nothing lap for Max now, to try and get himself up at least into the top 10, which is, like I say, from what I've watched, it's where I would expect to see him.
Super quick line out of there. Yeah, not quite the tighter line, but still good.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously the braking zone into T1 now will be very, very important for Max, just to get that right and get it thrown in onto the apex and then back on the power for the Curva Grande. It's all about time and it's all about precision, and you just got to hit those apexes and just get those lines bang on around here, because slightly offline and the tenths just slip away.
Yeah, I'm just hoping for his sake that these two are actually trying themselves and get on with it.
Yeah, he's certainly Omrod here in the BMW. He's looking to be. He's a second off the pace at the moment. He's trying, but taking the curbs like that won't help his cause. That will cost him a little bit of time.
Definitely, and those sausage curves don't know how to make them bounce.
Yeah, it's a bit of a risky business going over those, because the bounce can often turn into a spin if you're not lucky, but at the very least you certainly lose 1 or 2 tenths of traction. We see him get very sideways there. Well held, that man. The BMW is certainly good at drifting.
Absolutely. I think Max Coates went really wide in the background there. I was looking for where he was in track position. Oh, this is a great bit. The braking area here into Ascari is just phenomenal. Whoa!
He's got to be a track.
He's trying. He's trying.
He's trying and he's given up, I think, now. That was definitely track limits there.
I just hope he gets out of the way and lets Merrill's finish off his lap. Yeah. I think the track limits beeper would have deafened him there in that lap.
Yeah, absolutely. I won't be surprised if we don't see him just pull into the pits, but maybe not, as he's running very wide out of Parabolica as well. Certainly off the track there.
Yeah, it's great to see his commitment. Nice one, Harry.
But just while we're talking, I mean, at Parabolica in the race, it's one of those corners, and there are a couple of corners on this track where you've got to get the entry absolutely perfect to allow you to get that perfect run out of the corner to maximise the speed. But if you're having to defend, as we were talking earlier, if you're having to defend into that corner, the compromise that you have to make is massive, and it really opens you up to be overtaken in the race down that straight, doesn't it?
It's a massive one. Massive. You can't afford to lose 5 kilometres an hour out of that corner. You've got to be on it, because the slipstream there alone, that's the sprint down to Redapilia, is all important.
Yeah, just watching Jack McIntyre at the moment, he's down in 7th place and almost 8/10 off the pace, but Jack is running with 80 kilos of ballast this evening, so that's probably affecting the BMW and maybe why we're seeing him just a little bit further off the pace than we might expect.
Yeah, I think so. Jack's competitive as well. Well, Phil, it's just you'll see the horns come out.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. As I say, I've been watching some of the races, all of the races on the build-up to this, and I have watched some of them live with you guys commentating previously, and they never fail to excite. And as we've said, especially the second race with the reverse grid, where we, it's good to try and see the drivers' racecraft as the faster drivers try to come through. It's not necessarily slower drivers; it's just, it's difficult for them, isn't it? There is a speed differential, a skill differential.
Well, I'll take that top 3 for excitement, that's for sure.
Yeah, so Rob Butler in third is a good result for Rob, but we've got Kletzberger on pole, Dave Marshall second, Butler third. So that's certainly going to be interesting into the first corner, wouldn't you say?
There's no doubt about that at all.
Yeah,
and yeah, well done, Alex Toft-Jones. Impressed with that, nice sixth.
Yeah, so obviously, let's say Kletzer in first, Marshall second, Butler third, Dorman fourth, Rurik fifth, Toth-Jones sixth, Jack McIntyre seventh, Rich Hayden eighth. That's a good one from Rich in eighth with the Mustang. Rillig in ninth and Edmondson 10th. Rillig in ninth, and Edmondson, to be fair. Those two guys a bit further down than we may have expected.
Yeah, it must be the ballast. That's all I can think, because they're normally right up there knocking on the door.
Yeah, I mean, Edmondson's running with 40 kilos of ballast, and Andreas Rillig is running with 60.
Right. Maybe not then. Just not suiting them.
So I believe we've got an interview now with Kletzer. So I'm going to disappear there and I'm just going to dip down for an interview, and I'll be back in a moment.
Yeah, say hello.
I will.
How are you? Constantine, hello, are you there? He's, I think we'll go back to the stream. I think we're sure if Mr. Kletzer can hear me, but... So instead we have Dave Marshall in the commentary booth for an interview. Dave, good evening, how are you? Dave Marshall, can you hear me?
I think you're being thrown under a bus here, mate. It's first time out, so I'm sure that somebody will be along very shortly.
Yep, no worries. We shall head back to the track. I think I've been stood up. No, I'm being told Rob Butler is here to chat. Rob?
I don't know if you can hear me all right there.
Yes, Rob, I can hear you, mate. How was that for you? Was that pretty much what you expected there?
Well, I lost the internet at the start of the session, so I literally got one lap. The fastest lap I've done all week as well, so I don't know, maybe I need to crash my internet more often.
Yeah, third place though, mate. On a grid like this isn't a bad place to be at Monza. I mean, it's going to be interesting into turn one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and I've probably got the slowest car in a straight line out of everything behind me here. So we'll see. Just try to keep it clean through turn one and get some good points. Hopefully the internet holds up now. I've done a full reset. So
Rob, enjoy yourself, modest as ever.
Right.
So I'm sure you'll nail it.
I'll do my best.
I'll make it as big as possible, so to speak.
We'll try to get through turn one. That's going to be the biggest challenge here.
Yeah, well, good luck, mate. Enjoy.
Thank you. See you guys.
Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers, Rob. Thank you, mate. Bye bye.
Talk to and Rob Butler, as you say, very unassuming as normal, very modest. A few internet issues in qualifying, which is not always good, and it can unsettle some drivers when they have issues like that. But hopefully not Rob.
I don't know what would phase him, to be honest with you. Maybe if they ran out of Guinness at his local.
maybe. But yeah, he's coming off the back of those two wins that we saw at Silverstone, so he's obviously on a high, and he's the man to beat, really, I suppose, coming from there.
Yeah, he's. I can't wait. I'm almost looking for the fast forward button here, but all good things, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you say, the first corner, we've got we've got Dave Marshall there heading down with Konstantin Kletzer and Rob Butler. We've got Andy Dorman. Who else out of that top 10 would you expecting to be sort of making progress on the first couple of laps? Anybody you think out of position in qualifying?
Dave Marshall, Edmondson, Rullig. There's quite a few of them. I expect Alex Toff-Jones to get a good start, because that Aston is really quick in the straight line. Where's the winner going to come? Depends on the first corner, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the first lap's going to be very much about keeping your nose clean and just staying out of trouble and trying to get your head down. And as you've said earlier, and what's been proved in some of the past races, is that if you can stay in front without and keep out of trouble, then quite often the front runner does manage to break away, because the rest of the guys start battling and end up tripping over each other a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And this circuit's fantastic. When you think that you've got through turn one, Retafilier, then you go through the Curva Grande, and you've got a massively quick straight up to Rogier, which is the second chicane, and that's another conflict point, which is great. And then you come out to Lesmos. It's just a great circuit. Had some good times here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one for some good battling, because it's very hard to defend when you are in front if you've got someone behind you, because there are several slipstreaming opportunities, there are several heavy braking opportunities.
Oh, here we go. Red
lights on, ready to go.
Go. I think we're just waiting for the first.
I was going to say, we're looking very much Dave Marshall, Kletzer. Dave Marshall showing in the lead at the moment, so he's got his nose in front as they head down towards the first corner. We just are literally waiting to see if we see a bit of bumping and barging, but Marshall has managed to maintain that lead from Dorman and Kletzer as they fall now line astern. And
a
couple of cars getting turned around.
Yeah, let's pixelate. That's oh, that's a nasty one. Oh, Merrill's has just been stuffed into the barriers unceremoniously.
Yeah, Andy Carroll keeping his nose clean there and tucking in, but as we see Marshall, Kletzer and Dorman battling it out for the lead now, and obviously Rob Butler just in there for a good measure as well.
Yeah, Toff-Jones is there. I thought that Aston would get a sneaky quick start.
Rob Butler up through the inside of Lesmo 1. That's a brave move, forcing the other car out wide, and indeed I think someone's just turned.
Oh, so yeah, something went on behind the trees.
Yeah, unfortunately that looked like that's Kletzer that's dropped right down, so obviously from pole position now down to 11th place on the first lap. Obviously a lot of rebuilding work to do now, as Dorman and Marshall and Butler are the top three.
Yeah, what goes on behind the trees in Monza, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Oh, great Dorman is all over this. He's loving it. Where's that pace? You know, he was there or thereabouts, but he's just fired up for this race.
Yeah, we saw Kletzer's really on the attack now to try and make those places back up, as he was taking a lot of curb there through Ascari. On board with Toth Jones now in 5th place as they're coming into
great
Parabolic.
graphic. No, someone's gone wide there. I think it's McIntyre.
Yeah, McIntyre's run wide, allowing Toth Jones through to 4th place, and he's looking like he's got a reasonable exit, and he will be close enough to catch the slipstream now, maybe.
He should be ballistic down the straight, but oh, it's Rich Hayden in the muscle car. Look out!
Absolutely, and that thing has got legs. That will run.
Yeah. Oh, Alex is holding on, but Rich Hayden's quite tough in that thing. Oh, yeah. A lot of jostling there. Oh no! Oh, look out!
Absolutely. Now they're just letting Dave Marshall run away with it, with Rob Butler and Jack McIntyre in 3rd, as the rest of the field sort themselves out with a little bit of a turn 1 incident there. Several cars involved, and I think Rich Hayden was one of them that got turned around. Was he? Or
I think that he went agricultural on us there, and I think he was tossing them around like Hill's farmer throws his sheep around. That was a really messy bit of movement. But here we go. It's cleared them out.
Absolutely, like I say, it's giving Dave Marshall a bit of headroom. Butler's settled into 2nd. McIntyre's settled down in 3rd place now. I won't say Rich Hayden's settled down, because we never know what to expect from that Mustang, and he's going to turn into that cork in the bottle, as it were, I think. Through the twisty stuff, certainly.
I think there's now officially 4 chicanes at Monza.
One of them's moving.
One's called Mustang.
Yeah, definitely. But, he's there on merit. He's Richie put in a good qualifying time to be in the top 10. So he certainly deserves to be in the top 10. It'd be interesting to see if he can hang on to a top 5 finish.
There's an awful lot of racing going on all the way through the field here. This is brilliant. This is race 2 stuff.
This is Monza. This is what Monza brings, isn't it? As we said in the opening credits there, just before the race, and it's certainly 2x2 through Parabolica with Rohrig and Kletzer back up into the action. He's back into 7th place, so he certainly is making a recovery drive.
I think there's going to be a fair bit of red mist here. Oh, 3 abreast. Oh, what could possibly go wrong here?
Yeah, that was at Rohrig, I think, just saying I need a space, I want to come through there, and making it 3 wide, so they're going to go 3 wide into the braking zone for turn 1. I'm not sure how that's going to end up, but they sort themselves out, and it looks like...
Oh, that was... I don't think that was actually the line on the chicane.
Absolutely not. So that's a track cut, but just missed his braking point, braked too deep, as you could see in the braking zone that he was braking much later than the other guys, and just went offline there. But I think he's maintained his position from it, as we're on board with Tom O'Farrell now in 8th place, trying to take a double slipstream here, but there's no room for him to get through anywhere. Never say
where
never.
He goes there.
Never say never. You never know. These guys have a habit of trying to prise the door open, but on this occasion Tom O'Farrell kept it very, very clean, and he's got Dorman right behind him now, as you can see in his mirrors as we're on board with him, as he go through Ascari 1 and into Ascari 2. Ascari 2 will be looking to get the best run he can out of here to try and make some headway on that BMW in front of him.
Just great graphics, isn't it? Look at the rear view mirror there.
Yeah, the onboard shots are absolutely fantastic. Like say, you get the vision ahead, and you've got the mirrors to see the car behind us. We're heading into Ascari now.
Look at that! It's like motorway into Monza.
So Max Coates has made a few places up. I believe he started down in sort of 17th, and he's got up to 14th now, as he's taking a very, very tight line through the Ascari. I'm not quite sure there was any wheels left on the track with that one.
He's ultra competitive. There's off Jones again.
2x2 through the Parabolica again. It's certainly becoming a common occurrence in this race.
Yeah.
Toth Jones up to 9th place now, and pushing hard. So see if he can keep that down the straight. This is going to be a side-by-side battle into the braking zone.
Yeah, if you're on the inside though, Dorman's got the right line. just the grunt of the Aston there.
Yeah, it just
Nice work.
kept him in front. He knew what he had to do. He didn't over-defend the position, because you can over-defend and compromise your own line. You know, it's very much, if you don't need to defend, don't defend. Just drive your line, and it's the fastest.
Absolutely. And Max coats all over the back of him now. He's fancying this.
Yes, Max Coates.
He's fighting back.
Yeah, he's just lost a position from 14th back down to 15th, but he's having fun, he's having a good battle, and I'm sure that's not going to be his final finishing position. But having said that, really, he's not exactly where you would have put him in some of the past races. He's finished a lot higher than that.
He's not a happy chap. Oh, James Merrill's coming in to say hello to Sir Max.
I'm wondering if Max has picked up some sort of damage then, and the car's not maybe behaving as it should be.
Yeah, something's gone wrong. But having said that, James Merrill's is no slouch. And Riddick, I mean, just something's not suiting him today.
No, I mean, Merrill's in 16th place. He's only half a second off Coates, and it'd be interesting to watch that gap to see if it does come down. But yeah, Coates is losing ground now to Rillig. But one man who is making ground, and that is Dave Marshall per head. He's just under 3 seconds in the lead now, so he's certainly, as we said, got his head down, and he's making ground. Yeah,
we do tend to see this, that the person in P1 gets clear of everything, and the carnage of that first corner accident, or the chicane accident, about lap 3 or 4, that really gave him the perfect opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, Dave Marshall on his last lap has just set the fastest lap of the race and his fastest lap, and it was a 58.979. So that's, he's doing what he needs to do, as we see Roerig there just coming out of the chicane sideways, which won't help his cause trying to get the speed down for the Curva Grande.
No, not at all. And my word, where did that 9 minutes go? That was incredible.
Yeah, it's interesting now. It has settled down a little bit. The slipstream's not taking as effect. The guys have got a bit of space between them, but it's still not over. They're still not miles apart. The gaps are sort of around about half a second to a second, quite frequently down the field, and we're still going to see some great racing from these guys, because nothing's over for another 10 minutes and 50 seconds.
Yeah, they're catching up with Rich Hayden now. Wondering if the tyres, brakes, or both are going off a bit.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, credit to Rich. He spoke to us before the race, and he wasn't expecting to do much at this track. He said he was struggling with the car to get it stopped and get it turned, which was proving difficult for him to get on the power then, obviously, to utilise the Mustang's speed. But he's doing a fantastic job in 4th place at the moment.
Isn't he just? Oh, there we go, sideways again. He hit the curb, and that's what happens with the Mustang. It's like a space hopper sometimes when it doesn't like something.
Yeah, but I think he did amazingly well there to catch that, as he said to us. It's very difficult, but he managed to hold on to it. He's coming back He's coming back into the parabolica. He's going to try and make it do it. If he can get a good exit in that Mustang, I would fully expect him to pull alongside Roerig in that BMW.
Yeah. Oh, that's not good. Oh, he's taken the other MSL car out. Now Phil Thompson, the media guru, will be jumping up and down there, but I suppose if you're not in the front, you may as well have some good coverage from smashing each other.
And Rich Hayden does take that plate one.
I thought he might.
In the braking zone, so that was fantastic driving from Rich Hayden back up to 5th place. So he's recovered one of the 2 positions he lost due to that slide as he kept coming out of Ascari. So good driving, Rich, as we're on board with Roerig, who's 1 second behind Rich Hayden now. So see if he can close that gap down and put pressure on Rich, or whether Rich is going to carry on moving forward again.
Is this the Rich Hayden show or something? Just... when somebody's confidently and comfortably in front, you don't talk about them. Rich is uncomfortably in the middle of the top 10, and he's just performing like a showman.
Yeah, and we're on board again with James West, who is actually up to 9th place. So this is a pretty good performance based on the past rounds for James West. He's in the top 10 and having a good race. He's coming under pressure, but he's absorbing that pressure at the moment.
He's loving it. And the socks are back. I was wondering, did you click the bell? There was some sort of message to his many followers out there.
Yeah, so he's got Andy Carroll 0.4 of a second behind him, just reading his graphics on the screen, and he's 1 second behind Tom O'Farrell. So he's certainly he's defending, but he's also looking to make up a bit of ground and attack as well.
Yeah, there's little scraps all over the place. It looks like Max Coates going to join this this bit of entertainment as well, by the look of it.
Absolutely, yeah. Max Coates, as we were saying earlier, we didn't know if he had a bit of damage, but he's managed to move a couple of positions up. I'm not sure whether that's due to attacking or whether that was whether he's benefited from that parabolica incident we saw early on.
Yeah, possibly, or he's pressed F4 button. Oh, look at this! They're at it all over the place here. This
Absolutely,
is, great fun.
Well, we always knew Monza wouldn't disappoint us, and certainly the start-finish straight down into turn 1 is prime for outbraking and overtaking, as we've seen the McLaren get passed now by Rillig. Sorry, not by Rillig, by Rask. Rillig is still behind him.
Oh, that's a great move there. If he can make this stick round the outside there.
If he can just have the momentum around the outside to
curve around
right, yeah.
Get the slingshot off here. Oh, that's...
He's certainly looking good for it as long as he can get it stopped. That's the question now. Yeah.
Oh, that's very clean driving.
It was unfortunately compromised his exit into Lesmo 1, and it looks like he's going to lose that position.
Yeah, that's job done. And now coming under pressure as well. Oh, here we go. Oh!
Yeah, looks like he got pushed a little bit wide there. Obviously off camera we didn't see it, but it just it looked like that's what happened from the build up to Lesmo 2.
Yeah, you often hear it from the stewards. They look back a few corners to see whether the situation starts bubbling up. And we saw the end of it. The old pressure switch switched up there.
Yeah, I mean,
off you go.
I always find it amazing as a sim racer. When I'm driving, you don't always see the situations building up, but when you're commentating, you quite often 2-3 corners before it happens, you can predict what's going to happen.
That's absolutely right. Oh, Max Coates got a really good toe up that straight.
Yeah, and he's now up to 13th, so he's making headway. He's certainly he's finding some pace now.
He's got a good wide line there, keeping it out. The quicker line is actually to go to the right there to cut the line, but if you've got the toe of the car in front, it does burst through the air. Now watch him under braking here, watch him close. He's right up on him now.
Yeah, he's certainly he's like we say, he's finding his pace. He's having a good race, and he's going to try hard to get into that top 10. But believe it or not, Martin, we've only got 5 minutes left plus 1 lap of this race to go. And as you said earlier, where has this time gone? It's absolutely been awesome as this race so far. Some of the moves have been, as we've seen, another one here of Carroll.
As I said,
and that was West, wasn't it? I'm not sure. That's West maintaining position. He was coming under pressure from Carroll there, so he's doing his best to absolutely defend as we go on board with him now and ride on board through that move.
I don't know how many hands Michael Yau's got, but he's all over with the coverage here. This is brilliant. Thank you, Michael. It's making it even more entertaining and easier for us.
Yeah, absolutely. It brings the stream alive when you have someone like Mike Yao providing the pictures for you, because they are always entertaining. We're always on with the battle in the right place as best we can be when there's so many battles going on.
Yeah, brilliant. Oh, that's a bit wide there, but no harm done, I don't think. Oh, that's... If that was real, that you wouldn't have any of that, the underside of that car left on that bend. They put that nasty sausage thing there for a reason, and that was the reason.
Yeah, it's looking like Andy
Oh.
Carroll's going to go around the outside into the parabolic. He's got the job done before they actually turn in, but can he keep it in there, or is James West going to get the run out?
It's a good line, depends on where James sticks it. Oh, look at that on the inside.
It's going to be 3 wide into turn 1. James West, oh, he can't move over there, there's a car there, but he tries anyway. 3 wide into the braking zone for turn 1. Who's going to come out on top on this one?
The Porsche McLaren sandwich. That's. Oh, here we go. No, that's now.
That's Dorman
just
into 9th place. Then I believe West's in 10th and Carroll stationary in 11th.
Tidy driving. That's really impressed with that.
And just look at the gap that Dorman's managed to pull away now. Once he just from taking the right lines, he's managed to get a good half second on him.
Yeah, it's we see this quite a bit. Because James West knows what he's doing. He's a very good driver, and he knows his defence as well as his attack, which is always good to watch him.
Yeah, well, there's one thing James West has got is plenty of sim experience. The hours that guy must have sat in that sim rig seat, and with all the streaming that he does. So yeah, definitely he'll know exactly where to put that car to make it the hardest thing he can to overtake. It's not looking like he's got the pace of Carroll, but he's certainly making him work for it to try and maintain that position.
Well, you look at the decor. That's not a shed. That's one of the most comfortable rig rooms I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely, and the mood lighting's worth a 10th a lap at least.
Oh, definitely. I wonder what music he's got on. Right, here we go. We're under 2 minutes to go, so this lap, I don't know where Dave Marshall is on the circuit. He might have one. Oh, right, okay, so yeah, he might get another 2 laps out of this. So.
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly Dave Marshall. We haven't talked about him very much after the first couple of laps because he's had his head down and he's gone, and he's 5.5 seconds to the good of Rob Butler, who is 1.5 seconds in front of Jack McIntyre. So the top 3 are pretty much just stationary in position and not really putting each other under too much pressure at the moment.
Yeah, they'll be enjoying that. Something's happened to Edmondson there because he's 5 laps down. It's been a technical issue. There's a DNF, sadly, because he's normally right in the thick of it. Well, I hope he gets whatever it is fixed, because with the reverse grid, I'm quite fancying that. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm quite fancying more of what I'm seeing here with James West, Andy Carroll, and really certainly nose to tail now for what will be the last couple of laps. And James West has to be one of the drivers of the race for the defending he's done. He's been very, very clean with his defending, but it's very, very effective as well, as he's really made it very difficult for Andy Carroll to even attempt an overtake, let alone look convincing in an attack.
He's made that Porsche very wide. Look at him, he's in defensive position already, going into Ascari.
Yeah, and obviously...
and then he just flips onto the line at the right moment. That's really smart driving. Oh, that's sideways driving. Oh, McLaren. That's...
some of the guys are really attacking those curbs hard, but if your setup's not right for absorbing those impacts, it can really throw the car off, as we've seen Carroll try and go around the outside in Parabolica again, and James West, I'm guessing, is probably just going to run him out a little wider and keep his line and keep the run out of the Parabolica and look to defend into turn 1 again.
Yeah, I think he's hoping that Rillig will take a bit of pressure off him. Again, ultra tight line, and the McLaren technically should have him, but he's very determined, and he's going to be very, very late on the brakes here.
Yeah,
there we go. Great line.
Max Coates will just be wishing there was a couple more laps in this race, because he's literally lapping a good half a second faster than these guys now, and he's really closing the gap up to turn it into a 4-way battle. Because we're just on board with James there as he went through that manoeuvre into turn 1 and defended it very, very well. So literally, he's literally got another lap to go, and he's claiming 10th place.
Defence again here, going into the second chicane. And, yep, nice one into the Lesmos. Oh, there he is.
So we've got Dave Marshall coming through Ascari now, I believe, onto his way to taking the checkered flag.
Very
Absolutely
impressive.
very
7
impressive.
7 second gap. That's.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought that with the qualifying pace?
Yeah, absolutely fantastic drive from Dave Marshall, but equally fantastic from these guys battling for position, which has been a very, very clean battle so far, even in the braking zones into turn one, which can be a bit sketchy. But we've seen Dave Marshall now looking like he's going to come and take the checkered flag for a race one victory. And indeed he does. So
Yeah,
that's
nice one, Dave.
race one, Dave Marshall. Well done, Dave Marshall. Rob Butler's looking like he's going to bring it home in second, and Jack McIntyre will bring it home in third place.
Yeah, it's a BMW benefit, except for Rob Butler. That's really great driving, James. That's oh.
Oh yeah,
He's got this. He's got this. This is his defence has been impeccable.
Yeah, it's looking like Carroll's going to lose out on the line though on the drag.
It's a real sprint to the line here.
Yeah, well done, James West. Unlucky Andy Carroll. I think he did lose out there, literally on the line, on the sprint to the line. And Max Coates was in very close attention in 13th place. He just made up the ground, but just a little bit too late, as we've seen Katimpy come round Parabolica now to claim 16th place.
Yeah, she's had some technical issues. I think I've been getting some messages flashed up to me. Shame, but. Reverse grid looks good for MSL, sadly. Oh well, we'll get a lot of coverage in the first few corners, I think.
Yeah, as long as we only get to see one side of the car in turn one and not several, that'll be good.
Yeah. Oh right, well that's great. Well, I think we'll be given the nod to go down to the interview room shortly.
Yeah, we'll, hopefully a bit more successful than we were after qualifying.
Yeah, I'll follow you in there.
Okay.
You open the door.
Okay, no worries. I'll open that door and we'll nip down to the interview room now.
Yeah, great.
Good evening. We have Dave Marshall, race one winner. Dave, well done.
Cheers for that, Steve. Just crossed the line there, and I think I just got fastest lap on the line as well. So that's a nice way to finish the race. Wow, that was carnage, wasn't it? That was carnage. Luckily from my end, reasonably clean start. Outbraked myself going into turn one a little bit. Just not used to full tank of fuel, but made sure I didn't gain an advantage on the way out and kept my distance with Dorman. And then he pushed me hard and got past me early on in the race. And that McLaren is really fast in a straight line, so it was quite hard to get the advantage and get back in front, but luckily we got back in front and then all hell broke loose behind me, so it'll be interesting to watch the replay.
Yeah, I mean, watch the stream back. There has been some very interesting battles throughout the race. There has been a little bit of carnage, as you say, here and there. But from your point of view, you know, we said, myself and Martin were talking just before the lights went green, and we said it's about keeping your nose clean into turn one, and who comes out the other side is possibly, you know, that they're going to be the ones to get the head down and get away. And to be fair, you did that. I mean, you had close on 7 seconds, I believe, when you crossed the line. So it was a textbook performance from you, wasn't it?
Yeah, cheers, Steve. Yeah, I knew how important, first of all, quali was, and it's a bit of a shame not to hook it up. You know, fair play to Constantine, like that was a hell of a lap he put in, but I like to think I probably had another 3/10 that I just didn't quite unlock in quali. But luckily it was enough to put us on the front row of the grid. So I knew how important it was to get a decent start from the line, and yeah, luckily managed to get the nose in front going down to turn one, but as I say, just missed me braking point just a little bit, but luckily managed to recover it and brought home the win.
Dave Marshall, don't be so hard on yourself. That was a great win. Absolutely smashed it. Really enjoyed watching it. Didn't see much of you, but yeah, we knew exactly what you were going to do and what you needed to do, and you did it. That's great.
Cheers for that. I wish I could have known that before the race.
Cheers, Dave Marshall, and to be fair, good luck for the second one. I mean, any tactics for the second one, or is it just going to be a watching brief from the reverse of the grid?
Honestly, I mean, the lads fighting for the championship all in a very similar position here. We're all starting fairly near the back of the grid. And you've seen what Carnage Monza can do, 3 laps in, never mind the first lap. So I think for me, I'm going to be proper hanging back, taking advantage of anything I can do. Even if it means, I'm hanging back 5 seconds off the start line just to make sure it's a nice, clean track. It's all about just keeping your nose clean, and it's my lead to lose in the championship. So let's just try and protect that and get through this race.
Yeah, very wise words and probably a very wise tactic, mate. So good luck for that, and I hope it all goes to plan, buddy. And who knows, certainly see you in the top 10, if not maybe on the podium, if there's more carnage than we expect.
Cheers, Steve. I'll be going for fastest lap anyway.
Nice one, Dave. Good luck.
Enjoy.
So,
Anybody else?
we now just waiting there. We now have Rob Butler in the interview room. Well done, Rob. Great race from you, my friend, and a good result.
Yeah, I nearly threw it away on the last lap. I don't know what I was doing coming into last one, but I just drove clean off the track, so I made it a little bit more difficult for myself than it needed to be. But it was just about trying to stay clean and get through. It was just one of those races.
Yeah, I mean, Dave, obviously, he sort of got the early initiative when there was a bit of an incident. I think in turn 1, it gave him a bit of breathing space, and once he got that breathing space, he sort of kept his head down, and the gap was never really closed down again. Was it sort of in your mind that really second place is where it's at, and you're just going to keep pushing to defend that, or did you think at any point you were going to be able to maybe close that gap up to Dave?
I could match him on the first couple of clear laps that I have, and then I just made a few mistakes, so I couldn't close the gap. And I knew once I was out of the toe of the BM, I was really going to struggle. But yeah, when you've got Jack McIntyre behind you, one hell of a sim racer, you've got to be kind of focused. But the car took a while to come on. It came on in the middle of the race and then went off at the end of the race again. I just had so much understeer. So I'm going to make a few adjustments now for race 2, and hopefully we can get a clean race to the front. But I'm sure it's all going to kick off at the first chicane. I didn't see what was behind that time, but I'm sure there was many blockages.
Well, good luck for the reverse grid, my friend. I'm sure, I'm just asking Dave what his tactics are, and, what would your tactics be? Are you going to play a bit of a waiting brief from the line, or are you going to just basically watch it unfold and see what happens?
We'll go down with them and see what happens. I'd imagine it's going to be a roadblock song. It's going to be about picking up championship points here. That was a better result in race 1, to be honest, than I expected. So anything in the top 10 here with decent points will do towards the championship going into the last 3 races.
Yeah, nice one, Rob.
Thanks,
On
Mark.
the first turn there, if it is blocked, there is a nice exit. There's a couple of polystyrene odd things there, which I'm sure you could go through.
I actually was practicing drifting through them earlier, Martin, so I'm all ready. I just used them as a clip point.
Why does that not surprise me? Nice one, mate. Enjoy. Can't wait to see you guys out there. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, good luck, Rob.
Definitely.
Good luck.
Thanks, guys.
Speak to you later. Bye-bye.
Hopefully. Bye-bye.
So we're going to be looking to go to race 2 very, very shortly, and that is a full reverse grid. So is going to be some exciting action into the first corner, I would imagine, and probably pretty much throughout the first couple of laps.
Yeah.
And we're just going to switch over to a bit of an ad break now, and some information from some of the sponsors. So, ready for race 2, and not quite sure what to expect in turn 1, but I think it'll be some very hard charging into that braking zone, and there'll be a lot of guys trying to make up a lot of positions. Obviously, we've got all the front runners at the back of the grid, and I think the wise man tactics, Martin, in this would be to just play a watching brief on the run down to turn 1, maybe, and not push too hard.
Yeah, I don't know whether I want to be at the front or the back. Anyway, that first race was so good. Here we go again. We get to go and do it again.
Yeah,
red
the red lights are on.
And long hold, go.
Yeah, it was a very long hold, and the MSL Porsche in the top there seemed to get an excellent start as it's jumped through into the lead. James Merrills, I believe that is. So coming down into the first corner, Merrills has got the inside line on the braking zone, and it's looking like he's going to get that turned in.
That's tough. Jones gets punted off, and it starts. Watch out behind. And they're all over the place.
Yeah, that was one of the 10/10 cars got turned around as well. I'd be interested to see whether that was McIntyre or Marshall. But yeah, Merrills has got a little bit of fresh air, and he's making a move. He's got Edmondson chasing him just over a second behind. Those two have got a bit of clean air, and it looked like it was Marshall that maybe got turned, but he's down in 17th at the moment.
Yeah, I think the old blood's up here, that's for sure.
Yeah, as we're seeing, that's Toth Jones we're seeing there in 5th place.
He's pixelating the car. Oh, that was just, that was inevitable. A lot of squabbling going on here.
Yeah, and that's
Max Coates. Max Coates coming to join in.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what Max Coates can do in this second race. The first race, obviously, he seemed to find more pace towards the end of the race, so whether the car was slow to come to him or whether he just had his own issues with the track in the first race, but he certainly came stronger in the second half.
I think he must have pressed Control-Alt-Delete or something, and he's had some sort of reset.
Yeah, absolutely, but he's in 5th place now, and he's in a strong 5th place. He looks like he's a man challenging as he's got past the pack, and he's now chasing down Toth Jones, who is chasing down Thorne. We've still got Merrills out in the lead, but only by just under 2/10 of Edmondson, and we know Edmondson is quick on his day, so he's not a man to underestimate, as Edmondson's actually gone past him on the timing screen.
Yeah, he's made that move. That's a quick car, the Audi. Looks like James Merrills has had an issue. Oh dear.
He's a drive-through penalty for a jump start. Now, I did say he got a very good start, didn't I? But maybe just a little bit too good there, which is really unfortunate because that was looking like it was going to be a good battle.
I was being fairly partisan there. I didn't want to mention it, but it was a stonking start, that's for sure.
But so Edmondson now clear by 2.8 seconds from Thorne. Toth Jones in 3rd, Max Coates 4th, Rask in 5th, Omrod 6th, Carroll 7th, O'Farrell 8th, Klets 9th, Dorman 10th. Still all to play for, battling hard 2 by 2, but to be fair, for a reverse grid, that first lap wasn't too bad, Martin, was it? It was relatively clean in comparison.
Yeah, I just don't think we. Commentator's curse. A little kiss there from him. It wasn't its normal carnage, but there's plenty of time.
Yeah, absolutely, spoken like a true pro. There's plenty of time left for carnage, but it's nose to tail at the moment, very, very close, as you can see down the leaderboard there. Literally cars split by 1, 2 and 3/10, so everybody benefiting from a slipstream. Cars jinking left and right, looking to make moves as we go into a Scary, which that's never going to work. It just pushed Rask a little bit sideways and offline, but he did very well to hold that. I thought he was going off into the scenery then.
Oh, for sure. And where are our championship contenders? Dave Marshall in 13th there. But 13th isn't that far off, is it? Because look at that. It's somewhere in the middle of that gaggle. Which, how are they going to get round here? The answer is...
Yeah, and Dave Marshall is just battling with James West at the moment. We know how hard that is from what we saw in the first race. As he's
for sure, he's got him now.
He's got him, and it looks like he's taken Rohrig with him as well. But James West will pop into the slipstream and see if he can do anything to fight back. But Marshall certainly has got the inside line on Rory going into turn 1. These two are going to go into the braking zone side by side. And it looks like Marshall's maybe just lost out onto the braking there as Rory goes around the outside, and that was somebody steaming into missing the braking zone and steaming into turn.
Oh no, they were using the car in front as they're braking.
Yeah, that was
never good.
Carroll and Rillick there. That was Rillick that steamed into the side of Carroll, so really unfortunate for Carroll. No fault of his own there, but he's dropped down to 18th place now. So that's pretty much wrecked his race for this round. But we're looking now at Dave Marshall up into 11th, so he's not far from the top 10 for place now already, and we're only into a couple of laps into this race and 15 minutes still to go.
Looks like Tom Jones has got the bit between his teeth in the second race. He's into second, which is good news for him. Max Coates in fourth, so yeah, game on.
Yeah, absolutely game on with those top 4 guys. I mean, Edmondson's not slow, as we said. Toth Jones isn't slow, so that could be a really good battle for the lead there once they come together. If Toth Jones can just close that 1.7 second gap down. Marshall is in 10th place now, looking on the back of Dorman. As we're on board with Omrod, looking at the back of Max Coates as we get him very loose through Ascari there. Doing well to hold it, but he was steering left and right for a left-hander there, so that just showed you how loose the car was, and he's really in the slipstream. But Max Coates is going to try and make him go the long way around the outside, and into Parabolica they're going to go 2 by 2.
Oh, I think the Aston's handling like Noah's Ark at the moment as well, by the look of it. Come on, Maxie.
It is. Max couldn't get much closer up behind that BMW if he tried there. He was certainly sniffing the rear end there, and he's tucked well and truly into the slipstream, and he's looking to try and get alongside for the braking zone, but it just seems that he hasn't quite got the legs on the Beamer.
No, that Beamer is, it proved at the first race. Oh, he's not giving up though. He's making it really wide. Oh, I'll have that, thank you.
Yeah, did well to get that position back, to be honest there. That was fantastic driving from Max as he took it to him through the chicane and got the position back. But he's taken Kletzer with him as well, so Omrod's lost 2 positions in one corner there.
And here's Kletzer, he's menacing. There's something about the front end of a BMW, particularly on the motorway when it wants to come through.
Yeah. There's no mirror signal manoeuvre, there's just manoeuvre, isn't there?
Absolutely.
We've got Toth Jones. He's closing that because that gap down to Edmondson. Literally, we're talking maybe a tenth or so here and there. So Edmondson is managing to sort of keep the gap there, but I think Toth Jones is just gaining a few tenths here and there on him. So that could turn into a battle in a couple of laps' time. We've got Thorne, who's 7 tenths off the back of Jones, and Kletzer, who's 5.5 seconds back in fourth now. So I'm wondering if Kletzer, Coates, Omrod, whether they can make their way up to the podium spots, as Marshall seems to be stationary in sort of 10th place behind O'Farrell, albeit he's only a couple of 1,000th or so, or just now a 10th behind O'Farrell, so he's obviously in very close attention and trying to make a move on him.
I'm finding it incredible that from Dave Marshall, you've got Rich Hayden, you've got McIntyre, you've got Butler. They all seem to be stuck. There's Rich Hayden in the middle of it.
Yeah, I mean, Butler's in 13th place. Let's not forget Butler, like you say, he's up behind, he's half a second behind Hayden, who's, 1.5 tenths behind McIntyre, and then there's a gap of 4.5 to Marshall. So McIntyre, Hayden, Butler, that's a good battle there, right on its own.
Yeah, Dave Marshall's made a place there. Oh, here we go. Oh, that was...
Just look at those lap times in traffic, 2:03s. It just shows how much time it takes off them on the laps when potentially in clear air they're doing 58s, and in traffic they're sort of a good 5 seconds a lap slower. It really shows what the battling does to and how it affects the times, doesn't it?
It does. Oh, there's Rich, and now he'll put his foot down and he goes again, and just trying to catch it. Oh, it is funny, that car.
Yeah.
So glad he put it in there.
I think Rich Hayden would win a race if it was on a drag strip, wouldn't he?
Oh yeah.
He's struggling with the corners, but he's doing it. To be fair to him, he's doing well to control the car and handle the car, and he put in a good performance in race 1. So he's having a relatively good round. as we're on board with Merrill's after his jump start and drive through. He's down in 19th place, but it looks like he may gain a position here.
What I like about James is it doesn't matter where he is, he wants to race, which is fantastic.
Well, sometimes I think when you you suffer a penalty or somebody taps you off and you lose a lot of positions, it takes a little bit of the pressure away, doesn't it? Because then you're just on a recovery drive and you're out to get the best result you can from a bad position. So it takes away, like I say, it takes away the pressure a little bit.
He loves it as well, which is great. Good to see.
Marshall up to 8th now, so he's making good ground into that top 10. 10 minutes to go, so that first 10 minutes has flown by again, but just 10 minutes to go for Dave Marshall. He's got from last on the grid to up to 8th in 10 minutes, so that's a pretty good performance from Dave.
He's very canny. He knows how to win championships, that's for sure.
Yeah, O'Farrell just taking it to 9th at the moment on Rask in the Porsche, but that Porsche hasn't given up by any means. They're going to go side by side again, as we've seen so often down the start-finish straight, and it's going to be who can break the latest into turn 1. It's looking like O'Farrell's just got a slight advantage, although the Porsche looks to be drawing level at top-end speed.
Yeah, you can break late in that Porsche. That's great bit of driving there, O'Farrell.
Yeah, very, very respectful driving from both drivers. Neither of them chucked it in the perfect line and perfect respect to each other, as we're on board with Thorne now, and he has closed that gap up to Toth Jones, who's dropped away from Edmondson somewhat now. He's like 2.7 seconds back still, and Thorne's now only half a second off Toth Jones, and looking to put the the Aston under a little bit of pressure.
Yeah, he's starting already. Look how leery that Aston gets.
Yeah, absolutely. He's on the limit, isn't he, when he's coming through Ascari there. The car is it's very light, and the curbs, you can run them, but they can just make the car a little bit twitchy on the back end.
And in theory, the Mercedes should be a top-notch car around here, but good old Alex, keep going. Make that thing wide.
Yeah, the Mercedes certainly got plenty of grunt for the straight lines, and Alex just taking as much of a straight line through Ascari as he can, but he certainly didn't look to unsettle the car too much, as we're seeing Jack McIntyre down in 11th, so he's made a few positions up, and he's also looking to try and put a move on Rask at the moment as they come out of Ascari. He's looking like he's drawing alongside, and he's trying to give himself the inside line for the Parabolica, but it looks like he's got the move done before we even get there.
That was a great exit out of there. That was a very difficult move.
And Marshall up to 7th as they go into the Parabolica. He's just demoted Dorman down to 8th. And certainly a fantastic drive from Marshall, as we've said so far. He's now got his eyes on Coates, who's not too far in front of him, literally half a second. So Coates is going to be defending from championship leader Marshall very, very soon.
Yeah, great drive by Dave Marshall. He's not panicked. He's just got on with it. Championship points. Where's everybody else? Where are the other contenders? Yeah, it's good thinking as well.
Yeah, it's good to see Kat Impey as well. Looks like she's having a bit of a battle with Carol and Merrill's there, and it doesn't matter where you are on the field as long as you're having a bit of a battle, really, isn't it? That's the keep the interest alive.
Oh, exactly. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Oh, James, manners, please.
Was that James, or was that Kat just trying to get on the gas?
Kat gave him a tap back as well. So
we're just seeing an incident there, actually just below. I'm not sure if who that was that just went off there. To be fair,
Mercedes and a BMW.
Looking like Butler and it's McIntyre that's clear in front of them, and it looked like it was maybe Butler and Rask that were getting tangled up behind them.
Don't know what went on there.
I think it was just a little of an argument in the braking zone between the Porsche and the Mercedes, wanting the same piece of tarmac, but it's not affected either of them too much. I think they've held station with where they were and looking to mount a charge back onto the...
I've just seen Dave Marshall sneak one on the outside of Max Coates. So yeah, Dave Marshall.
But this will be interesting. Yeah, Dave Marshall, and he's currently set. His last lap was the fastest lap with the 58.523 as well. So he's certainly on a charge, because now obviously he's got past Max Coates has got clear air. He's going to be looking to close that gap down in front, which is around about 4 seconds, I believe. 4.3 seconds to Ormerod in the other BMW, so he's going to be looking to close that gap up.
Yeah, Max doesn't think this is over though.
Now Max is a racer, he's not going to give up on this, he's going to try, but Dave's going to make him go around the outside, and I tell you what, when he pulled out of that slipstream then he really had some going, that Aston.
Yeah, there's a lot of grunt in that car, that's for sure.
And
That's
respect.
He's made that stick, that's for sure.
Absolutely fantastic move. I mean, he got it done on the straight. He didn't even need to outbrake Dave. And Dave's going to go back at him, though. He's going to try and get the slingshot round the outside of Curva Grande. And if he can make that work, it then gives him the inside line, doesn't it, to Retifilla? To Regia.
Yeah, he's just going to stick now and make it stick. No, the Aston. It's that's a combination, that Aston Martin and Max Coates. It's what a cheeky move.
I think Max just maybe got a bit deep on the brakes to defend that position, and he just couldn't get the car turned. Yeah, it was
got a bit leery, but that was good to watch.
Absolutely. So Dave Marshall up to 6th now.
Yeah, impressive stuff. And how far down the road is Harry Omeroyd?
Omeroyd is 1.4 up ahead, so he's not out of the question with the time remaining, around about 4 minutes left.
Right, how's James's socks going? He's tapping away there.
And for all the battling this guy does, James West, there's never a bead of sweat on his forehead, is there? He just seems so calm, cool, collected, talking to all these viewers on his stream, and he defends, he puts the moves in, he's absolutely fantastic. It's a real talent to have, to be able to chat and read messages while driving at these speeds and being as competitive as he is.
You just know that room's going to be air conditioned as well, don't you?
It will be a necessity, I would imagine, yes. As we've seen O'Farrell taking Jack McIntyre now, Jack McIntyre down to 10th, but that move's not done by any means. They're going to go side by side and looking to take the battle to another turn 1 braking zone and to see what we can do. But it's looking like McIntyre is going to draw alongside and take it right down to the braking zone. And
it's just allowing Rob Butler to sneak up there again. Even the graphics made that look clumsy.
Yeah, I'm going to say that won't help his exit speed there, and that's basically cemented the fact that Tom O'Farrell is now into 9th place, and McIntyre really needs to look in his mirror now as he sees Rob Butler who is closing in on him, and that Mercedes is going to look very large behind him very quickly.
Very much so. And it's pretty much stagnant at the front there.
Yeah, just looking there, Edmondson out in the lead with Toth Jones in 2nd place, 3 seconds-ish back. Kletzer in 3rd, another 3 to 4 seconds back. Omrod in 4th, 1.7 back from Kletzer, and Thorne in 5th. And Dave Marshall in 6th place is the man on the move. He's now 3 seconds back from Thorne. So with his actual lap times, he's lapping in the 58s, 59s. And the guy in front, Thorne, is lapping 2 minutes, so he's certainly lapping 1.5 seconds quicker at the moment. So Jack McIntyre manages to move back up to 9th, and Tom O'Farrell managed to get that position back as they come through Ascari now. Great move, and Rob Butler really throwing it through Ascari there, as we saw the Mercedes just drifting as he came through. Absolutely fantastic car control from Rob Butler.
He's making that absolutely squeal. That's fantastic to watch, that graphic.
Yeah, and as you can see, you've got Rich Hayden there. He's still holding station in 12th place, and he's holding his position as he comes into the Parabolica. He's really made that Mustang work for him tonight, and I think even Rich will admit he's probably had better results than he was expecting this evening.
Yeah, I think a lot of sandbagging going on there when he had to count his laps.
Yeah, Toff Jones now under pressure from Kletzer's really closed that gap up on him, and he's the BMW is certainly going to make the Aston work now.
Yeah, 2 laps to go. He's got to make that Aston very wide now.
Yeah, I think Toff Jones is experienced enough to make this as difficult as he can now for Kletzer, which is it's going to be some fantastic racing. Literally 1 minute left on the clock plus 1 lap, so that's very tight in the braking zone. That was almost hold your breath moment there, as I thought it was going to nudge the back end of Toff Jones, but managed to keep it clean and to be fair, left a little bit of a gap.
There's still time. Still time.
Marshall's closing that gap on Thorne as well. That's down to less than 2 seconds now. So as we were saying, he's closing at a fair old rate of knots. He may, 1.7 seconds is a big gap with only a couple of laps left, but he may just have enough in the tank to do it.
Yeah, 1.5 laps, I reckon.
Yeah, and Dave Marshall's last lap was again the fastest lap of the race, 1:58.5, as opposed to Thorne's last lap of a 2:02. So that's a massive gain.
Great driving. Absolutely great driving.
Toff Jones has managed to just pull away a little bit from Kletzer there, as Kletzer was coming through Ascari a little bit sideways and riding those curbs maybe just that little bit too much. But again, this is another battle that's not over, because Kletzer seems to have the speed on Toff Jones in this latter stages of the race, and he seems to be able to close that gap up as they come through the parabolica now. And we're just going to see, if we stay on board now, we can see if the slipstream is going to really take effect and see if he can close the gap up in the BMW on the Aston Martin.
No, he's on the right line now, Toff Jones. Just stay about middle for diddle, then you can deal with him either way. Don't go too wide.
We've got Edmondson, who started the final lap just in front of these guys as well, and Toff Jones just maybe didn't need to, but he just took the inside line, just slightly defending there. As long as Kletzer doesn't get the cut back here, which he hasn't, Toff Jones can then maintain position and just stay defensive down through Curva Grande.
You've just got to take your line, and he's just got to brave it out now, because he has that outside line. It's all down to the braking here, and that's going to be... Oh, contact. And Kletzer has to give it the position back.
He does, he needs to give that position back, but unfortunately it's looking like they're going to lose out a few more positions as well on the way.
Yeah. That's not good. He's been jumped all over now, and it's going to be interesting to see what the clerk of the course says, but we'll find that out during the week.
We've got we've got Edmondson in the top right of your screen there, just coming into Ascari for the final time. We've got Dave Marshall, who's now within half a second of Thorne in front of him, so is there anything he can do on this last lap? As Toff Jones got brutally demoted to 4th place there. Looking at Coates in...
Oh, Thorne goes wide. Toff Jones had broken down by the look of it. Dear, what a shame. Yeah, he's drifted off.
Looks like he's retiring that car in the background, Toff Jones, as you can see there. But there's Edmondson taking race 2 victory, flashing the lights in the Audi. Obviously very happy with that result. It's pretty much led from lights out to checkered flag, so fantastic result for Edmondson. Kletzer will bring that home in 2nd place. We're seeing a drag to the line with Thorne and Dorman there. I'm not quite sure who's going to win this one. That's very close.
Oh, that's... Oh, there's another one, look out. Oh, there's 4 across the line. Brilliant.
Am I reading that result right as well? Dave Marshall in 4th place.
4th place.
That's absolutely fantastic. Measured drive from Dave, with Thorne in 5th, Dorman 6th, McIntyre 7th, O'Farrell 8th, Butler 9th, Coates 10th, Rorik 11th, Hayden 12th, good drive from Hayden, Rask 13th, James West in a very impressive 14th, Merrills in 15th, Catherine P in 16th, Larami in 17th, and Toff Jones retired in 18th place there. Andy Carroll and Rillig retired earlier on in the race, DNFs. A fantastic second race, and to be fair to the lads, I don't think there was quite as much carnage as we were maybe expecting for a reverse grid at Monza.
But I think Rich Hayden will maybe get half a day to save half a day reviewing that. But yeah, very good. Really enjoyed it. Both races. What a great event.
Yeah, Monza certainly didn't disappoint there with the driving and the slipstream in the braking zones, as we said. But I think we're going to go down and interview our race winner now. If you want to join me, Martin, in the interview booth.
Yep, I'm on my way down.
Max,
Good evening.
well done, buddy. Fantastic driving that second race from lights out to checkered flag. It was a very measured performance, and you just seemed to keep your head down, and you knew what you had to do. Was it as easy as it looked?
I mean, it wasn't easy, but race 1 I had connection issues, so obviously for mixed grid or reverse grid I started first. I just kept it consistent, but I used a setup from Bud Call which he gave me, so that was what was getting me to the finish.
Yeah, well done, mate. I mean, there was a bit of, there were a few tussles going on behind you, and especially towards the end of the race, some of the guys closed up. But you seemed to manage to maintain that gap all the way through the race. Were you measuring the gap? Were you just watching your pace, or were you trying to go flat out all the way?
I was trying to obviously keep my pace consistent, but it was a setup at the end of the day that got me to there, so...
Yeah, Max, you've really got the setup of that Audi really quite sweet now. Beginning of the season, you're showing some great pace. Just been enjoying the setup.
Yeah, at the start of the season I didn't really have a setup, and then slowly I've just got used to the car, and obviously I got that tuned in a bit, so...
Yeah, well done. Good man. Great
Thank
race.
you.
Great win.
Thank you.
Well done, Max.
Thank you.
So I believe now we're potentially going to speak to Kletzer, if we can bring him in. Constantine, great race from you, my friend. How was it for you?
Yeah, thank you. That was pretty fun. Coming from fairly behind, had the chance to overtake a lot of cars, but yeah, also some others just went past left and right in the grass. I think in the last lap, I had a little incident with Alex. I don't know if I threw him out. If so, sorry. But I think it was all fair at the end. Yeah, nice race. Had a lot of fun. Good place for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, was it a case of you were just sort of watching what others were doing and just literally trying to stay out of trouble for that race and keep your head down and run your own race? Was it?
Basically, yes. That's my strategy for each and every sim race. I don't manage all the time, but it's fairly good.
Well done. Really enjoy your enthusiasm and a great race to watch. Well done,
guys.
Fantastic, buddy. Well done, and good luck for the next round. I believe we've got Harry Omrod to interview now. Harry, how are you, buddy? Well done on your result. Good evening, Harry.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe not wanting to talk to us, but no. Let's go move back to the commentary booth for a roundup. That is after we speak to Rich Hayden has come for 5 minutes of fame.
Good evening. How are we?
Very well, Rich. I think based on our pre-race chat, you must be pretty pleased. Certainly with race 1, and race 2 wasn't bad, mate.
Yeah, that was hard work. I mean, really hard work. But I've without giving you too much of an image, there's a lot of sweat this end.
I mean,
race. Thanks for that, mate.
race 1, buddy, 4th place at one point. That was absolutely awesome driving from you, and you were really making that Mustang work. And even when it did get a little bit squirrely out of a couple of the corners, we made a comment or two about how well you did to hold on to it. It was really you were fighting it certainly, but you did really well, buddy.
Thanks very much. Yeah, I know when I got up to 4th, I could see that there were BMs and faster drivers behind me, so I kind of wanted to try and run my own race because I knew that I was out of position at 4th in the Mustang. It was good. I really enjoyed race 1. Found it really difficult in race 2, but still a lot of work and a lot of fun.
Rich, it was the Rich Hayden show there for a while. Really enjoyed it, buddy. That was
brilliant. I'll look forward to watching the stream back then.
Oh, you will do. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Rich, and good luck for next week, buddy.
Thanks very much. Norge Life, here we come.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Wow.
I might even put some practice in myself on the server.
Yeah, no problem, mate. I'll get you in the server.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Mike, as well.
Cheers. Wow. Back to commentary.
Yeah, back to the comms box, and that completes the interviews for this evening. And yeah, as we said earlier, it hasn't disappointed, has it, Martin? It's been, my first time out commentating on the GT4s, and that was certainly didn't disappoint. It was very, very exciting, buddy. So, I mean, if you just want to give me a summary on your thoughts of the event before we close up.
I just, again, thank you to all involved, to Michael Yao, VRRC, all the sponsors, my team back at the office. Phil Thompson does a great job behind the scenes, gets 4 drivers together and out. It's like herding cats. So, yeah, really good. And thank you to you, mate. Into the deep end, Steve.
Yeah, absolutely. But working with you has made it easier, and the excitement of the racing certainly, it wasn't dull, it wasn't boring. There was plenty to talk about all the time. So, please, everybody, if you're watching the stream for the first time, whichever platform you're watching on, make sure you subscribe and you click the notification bell, and then be sure not to miss the next round, because next week we are at the Nordschleife, the full circuit, I believe, as well. So that will be one to watch.
I'm going to have to pace myself on the old Stein then.
Certainly, and yeah, I think that will throw up some good racing, and it will definitely, like I say, will be one to watch and could be a real game changer for some of those cars. So thank you very much, everyone, for this evening, and we will be back same time next week. Thank you very much, and good night.
The inside of Coates, Parker gets too heavily involved. And that's Whitehead and Coates.